Well, hello everybody. This is Steve from Ledgeview, and today we're going to talk about all the changes, the enhancements coming in our CRM for oil and gas with our April 2018 release. So I'm just going to blow through a couple of slides here, and then we'll actually get into CRM, and you will see some of the changes in action. So just advance the slide. So there I am. For most of you probably know me and have met me through the training and through the projects we worked on, but for those of you who haven't, there I am. If you ever have to get a hold of me, there's my email address and phone number. So let's get past this ugly slide. All right, so what's new? First of all, want to just make sure everybody's aware that you're going to see these changes when you come into work on Monday, April 30th. So there's going to be some emails going out explaining this as well. There's a video that's already in CRM. It's almost like going to be a copy of this presentation, but we made a video ahead of time and put it in CRM, so you have that. So hopefully everybody's well aware of all the changes that are going into effect. The other thing just to point out is this release probably isn't as robust as some of our other releases. We periodically try to just ping off a lot of little things on the list, because even though it's maybe not a big change, it can have some big effects. So what we did is we just grabbed a bunch of little ones, put them together in a release, and we actually wanted to do a few more, but our ultimate strategy is really focusing on getting our platform to be more mobile driven. So to get to mobile, we've got to get everybody to the Microsoft version 9.0. All of you are on version 8.2 of CRM, in case you didn't know that. And 9.0 is available. So we're scheduling those to get updated in May. So we wanted to finish up this release and get this out in April. So kind of the high level game plan here is this release in April, get you to CRM version 9.0, that's Microsoft's version number, in May, and then this summer really focus on mobile. So just kind of setting the stage for that. All right, so what are we going to talk about? I'll go through the slides real quick, and then we'll jump into CRM and do these. So on leads and accounts, we've added a couple fields on the screen to record a federal ID number if you want that. If you're using Dun & Bradstreet and you want to keep track of the DMB code, you can put that in there. And probably the most popular one is this DBA or doing business as. We've added that. Another small request that came in is the lead source. You know, you enter on a lead. When you qualify a lead, we were asked to kind of pull that data over and have it go over onto the account and the opportunity. So if you qualify a lead, the lead source will show up on the account and opportunity screen as well now. Really small change to the contact grid on an account. Somebody asked to be able to show the contact's title on there. So we added that. I'll show you that in a minute. The other thing that most of you use probably daily is searching in CRM. And the search feature doesn't search every single field. It searches, there's probably like 5 or 6 fields that we search on, you know, things like name, account number, main phone number, address information, different ways you might want to search to find a record. Well, we've added a few more fields into the search table, if you will. So now, if you use the other phone number on the account screen, and you know that number, right? If you do a search, it will find that account if that number is found. It'll also search in the contact record, the business phone, the mobile phone, and the fax number. That's going to help you find contacts easier. And then also that doing business as that we just added, that we also added to the search feature. All right. So nothing really special here for you to do any differently, but just as you're searching for stuff, if you know any of this information and you put it in the search, it'll find the associated record. All right, quotes. For those of you who are using the quote feature, you know, a year or two ago when Microsoft did an upgrade, they took away a button when you're adding products to a quote, the famous save and new button, which really, you know, that saves a click or two. So that was a nice feature. We got some calls saying, hey, can we put that back? So we got our developers to find a way to programmatically, we just customize that button and put it back. So I'll quick show you that. Probably what I think is the biggest part of this release is this concept of profit per unit. So the thought here is, okay, we have all this data. What if we were to change some of our screens and some of our reports to not only show you gross profit and revenue and volume, but if we did a little math for you and took the gross profit divided by the volume and showed you how much profit you're making per unit. We really can't say gallon because some people measure differently than gallons. So profit per unit. What we did to get things started is we added that information to the order history record. So it's in each transaction. And then we've added it to a couple of screens, a couple of reports, just to kind of get the juices flowing to see where this goes. And I'm hoping, based on people seeing this now, they'll go, hey, I've got an idea for maybe a trending report, or I've got an idea, could we also add that column to this report? Because I use that quite a bit, and that would help me. So I think this is really just setting the foundation for some really cool stuff we can do with this profit per unit feature and analysis you'll be able to do. We're also rolling out a new dashboard. Dashboard 20 is for a sales manager to use. What it ultimately is a collection of a lot of charts that are scattered throughout the system. One of the limits we have with out-of-the-box dashboards is 6 charts. And so we did some customizing and built a dashboard with a lot of charts. I think there's like 15 or 20. So it's the main charts a sales manager might want to look at all in one spot. And then the last small request, somebody wanted the equipment ID to display on a few more places so they know exactly what piece of equipment they're working with. So this is for you folks who are dealing with equipment tracking. All right, so let's take a peek at what some of this stuff looks like. So I'm just going to kind of back up on my scribbled agenda here. And the first thing we talked about was leads and what we did to the lead screen. So to save you watching me type, I actually created a lead a little while ago. Hopefully I can find it. I'm just going into leads. Just going to open up this lead. So not a lot to point out, but just to show you that we've added things like on the lead, if you knew doing business as, that's now a field that's on here. So that's going to be there on April 30th. Also the federal ID and the DNB code. We've added spots for you to enter that. So I just filled some of them in. So nothing real special there. But now if you want to capture that, if you have that information on the lead screen, great, go for it. If you don't have it here, but you find it later, once this turns into an account, you can always fill it in on the account screen. So we'll see that in a minute, because what I'm going to do is qualify this lead. So I'm just going to change this to yes and hit save. So 2 simple buttons to qualify a lead, and then we have this little message here that you guys are probably used to seeing that says your lead is being qualified. Usually by the time I get done reading that sentence, it's done already. So there we go. So the lead was qualified. Now I'm on the opportunity. Heck, because I'm here, I might as well just quick show you the only change we made to the opportunity screen, I think was we put it way down on the bottom in case you're interested, where we keep track of the lead that created this opportunity. We also brought over that lead source. I'm sorry, we brought over the lead. So here's that lead source. And that was the lead source I used from the lead. So that's the opportunity. I don't even think I need to save any of this. So I'm just going to jump right to the account and show you the changes there. So we kind of covered the lead screen already, the opportunity screen. What's on the account screen? Here's that doing business as. Here's that federal ID. Here's that DNB code. Those came over from the lead. If they weren't filled in, I could change them. I could fill them in now. What else was on here? I believe if I scroll down to the contact grid, that was another change. I believe this used to show right here, instead of job title, it actually showed the company name or the account name, which is kind of redundant because we already have it right up here. So why list that? So I think we actually removed that and we just added the job title. So now you know who you're dealing with and what their title is and email address and whatnot. So that was a small change to the account screen. All right, so let's actually just sneak somewhere else. I probably don't even have to do this. I'll just jump over to opportunities, and I'm just gonna try global search once. And I set up that new account with a doing business as a little LLC, I think is what I called them. So I'm just gonna do a global search for that. And sure enough, now global search is searching for that doing business as field. And so it found that account that I created, because that account has a attribute, it has a field on it called doing business as that matched little LLC. So that just proves kind of that global search. And even if I was just in the account doing a search on accounts, it would find it in global search and in search right within the record. All right, let's jump over to quotes and show you the save a new button. That's going to be fun to demonstrate, just show you that there's a new button there. But for those of you who never experienced it, it is kind of nice. So I'm just going to pull up any old quote. Just grab this first one here. So for those of you who are using the quote feature, for those of you not, you can take like a 30-second break here, but I'm working on a quote and I've got all the header information in, and I've got some products on here already. But to add another product, one of the ways to do that is to hit this plus sign. So many of you are probably using that. If I just want to add one product to a quote, I would do that. So you're all familiar with this screen. I could go in here and I could do a search for maybe something with the word grease in or something. I could try to find something. I'll just grab one. It doesn't really matter which one I grab. So I pick a product. It actually added it to the quote here. It's giving me a chance to override the price. Typically in the past, I would have hit save and close, and then I would have been back to this screen and I'd have to hit the plus sign again to add another product. Well, now when I'm happy with this one, I can just hit save and new. And what that does is it would have made any last save changes to my product and put it on the quote. And then it assumed I kind of hit the plus button. And now I'm right back here with a blank screen to enter another product. So basically, you end up doing like, entering it all in, save and new. Enter another one in, save and new. Enter another one in, save and new. And then when you're all done, you can close out and you're back to your list of products. So instead of coming back here all the time and having hit in the plus sign, you can stay right on that screen. All right. So that was that one. All right, let's talk about this concept of profit per unit. So I need to find an account with some order history data. That will make it much easier. So we're going to pull up old Fairview Manufacturing. And the first thing I'll do is just kind of scroll down to that rolling 12-month summary that those of you who probably take advantage of this is kind of a nice summary. It's analyzing the last 12 months of what the customer bought, and it shows you the products they bought, showing you the product they bought the most of down to the product they bought the least of. So hopefully many of you are familiar with that. We also show you how much revenue and gross profit, but what did we add? Just a simple calculation, right? Take the gross profit divided by the volume, and we get profit per unit. So this might tell you something, right? If you know you're selling a certain grease or a certain lubricant product, and you know you typically make, 60 cents a gallon or so, and one of these comes up, 45 cents, or maybe an alarm's going off, right? And then we've always had last order date. That was in a prior release, but so we added this profit per unit kind of in between the gross profit and the last order date. So profit per unit. All right. We also have that profit per unit right at the detail or the order history level. So as most of you know, you can go up here to hit this little arrow to go to the related records, and I could pull up the order history for this account. And it's going to show me the individual transactions for the customer. So I could just highlight one here. And all of this stuff you've seen before, price, cost, volume. What you probably haven't seen is this concept of profit per unit. So again, that's all we're doing here is taking gross profit divided by volume to tell you what that is. For those of you who get into really the data here, some of our customers, if you sold maybe, 3 cases of quartz, and then it's like there's 12 quarts in a case, so you might sell 3 of them. You have some conversions that going on. This is really that's 9 gallons. So we use the multiplied volume when we do that calculation for you. So it's always at the base unit of measure that you care about. In this case, we're gallons. It could be liters, depending on your organization. So the cool part about this, for those of you who are really into analyzing the data, you now have profit per unit at the transaction level. So for those of you who are playing with the data, right? You could do some analysis on order history. You could export the data. You could do filters on profit per unit because now you have that. So think of a report that you run. You might want to run a report that's going to list all the customers who buy a certain product. If that report has that profit per unit column on it, holy cow, now you can quickly analyze how much you're making per unit across your customer base. So the fact that we now have this really opens the door to a lot of possibilities. But again, we didn't change every single report. We don't know how this is going to take off. So I'm counting on all of you to come to me with your ideas on where we can take this to the next level. All right, not too many people do this, but if I actually double clicked, I could open up an order history record if it's going to let me do it. And just so you know, not too many people actually go down. Oh, I actually clicked on the product again. Darn it. I'm going to go back to that order history. So if you actually, I'll just go back to Fairview here real quick. If you open up an order history record, it just shows you basically all the data that was on that screen I just showed you, but I'll just do it real quick. So I'll just go to order history. Actually did that when I was making the video too. I don't know what was going on with my clicking on this. So I just want to prove to you that it's there, plus to myself. So I open up an order history record. It has basically all the same information, maybe a little bit more. Some unique ID information if you care about that. But here's that profit per unit. This happens to be one with a negative gross profit, so it's kind of a funny number, but it's there. All right, let's at least run report. So what report might have this? I changed report 110, so let's just do that one. So this is kind of a nice report. It's by customer, so one line per customer. For those of you used to running reports, right, this filter screen, pretty powerful. You pick the data you want. We'll run the report with just the data you care about. So here again, maybe if you're thinking of this profit per unit, you might want to actually start filtering on like one product just to kind of see that number. So for now, I'll just grab the defaults here and let her rip just to show you that that column is there. And it's just a simple calculation, but now you don't have to worry about it. So let me just make this screen a little bit better. So here's, let's go back to page 1. So the totals up on top haven't changed. This report, exactly the same, except at the very end, we now have a profit per unit. And that's all this is a calculation of gross profit divided by volume. So there it is. So now just imagine this report was filtered on just one particular product. You'd be able to tell which customers you're getting more profit per unit on versus another one. So it's a little bit different way of looking at just gross profit in total down to how much you're making per unit. So I think this is really powerful. I'm hoping you guys are in agreement and are going to be able to take advantage of it and also share some ideas on how we can even make that better. All right, looking at the time, I'm doing okay. I must be in super speed mode here today. All right, I'm not going to run every report, but we did change in the PowerPoint and in the email you're going to get, we changed 6 reports just in this report module now. We didn't change anything on dashboard 97. For those of you who are familiar with running reports through 97, we haven't changed any of those yet. We're waiting for feedback. But we changed, let's see, 110, we changed 170, we changed 190 and 195, and 205 and 220. And that's all going to be in the email that you get. So not that you got to jot all that down. You'll be getting an email. All right. Moving on, seeing as we're in the workplace, let's jump over to dashboards. Some of you probably look at some of these dashboards periodically. So this new dashboard, it looks like I was playing with it before this webinar, so that's the one I was on last, so that's why it's pulling that one up. But I'll just show you, where it is. We just have a list of all of our dashboards, and if you scroll down, there's dashboard 20. And as I mentioned, it's just a collection of charts that we already have. So you might want to just take at least a minute to look over dashboard 20 to see if maybe this saves you looking at 2 or 3 dashboards, because everything you want is in one dashboard. So I'm not going to read every single one of these charts to you, but I'll just kind of scroll down. You'll see a lot of opportunity analysis right here. I'm in the beginning of the dashboard. So a lot of these charts are just against your pipeline. This is actually a variation to one of the charts that we have on another dashboard. One of our one of our trending dashboards shows your open opportunities looking out 3 months. This actually looks out 12 months. So this one is actually the same chart, but uses a little bit more data. So if you wanted to look out more than 3 months, this shows you 12. These other charts are exactly the same. This is actually the only new chart, and this is just a way to break down your pipeline looking at gross profit by industry in a little pie chart. And then if I scroll down a little bit further, this is all basically pipeline information. So open opportunities not updated in 30 days, stuck in a sales stage for 45 days. And then as I scroll down, this got a little bit tricky for us, but we were able to grab dashboard 7, which is that sales manager scorecard dashboard, which actually has 3 charts in it. So you'll see as I scroll down over here on the right, I get this other dashboard inside this dashboard. So now I can scroll down, and within this dashboard, I have another dashboard. So I can scroll down and see that dashboard. And I can even change my filters here if I want and adjust. Like I'm inside a dashboard inside a dashboard. So anyway, kind of cool. Maybe it'll save some of you a few clicks if you're interested. All right, and the last change I want to show is super simple. For those of you who are using the equipment tracking feature, you know that when you set up a piece of equipment, one of the attributes on here is to set up the equipment ID. But when you were looking at the list of account equipment, so when you tie a piece of equipment to an account, we had the account and like the piece of equipment description or the name, but we didn't have that number. So we've added that equipment ID right here so you can easily tell which specific tank is it. So there's that number. And then also if I just take the shortcut and sneak over to Fairview Manufacturing, so if I want to see so I'm back on the account. If I want to see the equipment that Fairview Manufacturing has, I can go to the account equipment that's related just to Fairview Manufacturing. And we've also added the column there as well. So this is showing me Fairview Manufacturing has this piece of equipment. And here's the ID. This is the exact specific piece of equipment that they had or have. Because obviously if there's an end date filled in, then they don't have this one anymore. But anyway, the equipment ID got added. So those are the changes. I'm going to flip back to the PowerPoint because I think there's a few slides going on here that I didn't touch on. So we covered all of this. Just a few resources to point out in case you weren't aware. I'm sure most of you are. We've got some super gurus over here on our support team. You can always call or email them. I mentioned the video library and CRM. For those of you who don't know where that is, that's in the workplace area. You go to workplace videos. Maybe I should just flip over there and show that in case anybody doesn't know, because this is super powerful. If I go into workplace and videos, I think we're up to like 51 videos now. So it's just a playlist. So if I hit this little arrow here, or not arrow, those little bars, I get a list of all of the videos in the system. So I strongly encourage you, if you're about to get into like a new feature or you have questions running reports, we have little 15, 20-minute videos on just about every feature in the system. So they're there for you to help you become more efficient. And then every time we do a release, we create a video and we put them toward the bottom. So as we add them, we kind of add them toward the top of the bottom, so to speak. So we've already added the 2018 April release video. It's there for you, which is, it's going to sound almost exactly like the webinar we're just doing now. But there it is, and it's only 16 minutes long, so it's a super speed mode version. So you can, for those of you who didn't attend this, they could always do this, or you're probably going to get a link to this webinar as well. So that's that. Let me get back to the PowerPoint. And also, we periodically do webinars for our customers, so user group webinars and whatnot. And it looks like we have a blog out there, so all kinds of resources for you. Probably your other big resources is Jean. For those of you who haven't worked with Jean, she's your account manager. So if you can't get a hold of support, you can't get a hold of me, right? There's always Jean. So Jean usually reaches out to a couple folks in your organization throughout the year just to see how things are going and any ideas you have. She's your account manager. All right. I think that's it for me. So hopefully you'll take advantage of this April release. We are going to focus on getting the 9.0 version of CRM scheduled for all of you, and we'll be sending emails on that. And then we are going to spend all summer really just cranking on mobile. So you're going to be hearing lots more about mobile. We're excited to let you access all this cool stuff on many different mobile devices. So that's it. Thanks so much for participating today. Have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye now.